Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. If you're a new listener, welcome. If you're a veteran, welcome back. We have, I stopped saying we have Hans here. Of course, we have Hans here. There's no show without Hans. But today, Hans,
I should get a T-shirt like that.
yeah, there's no show without Hans. We'll be gazillionaires. But Hans is going to talk today about how dogs became dogs. So, it's you guys are going to, I think, learn some things.
Well,
it's not a secret, by the way, but Hans is going to shed a light. I think you're going to think a little differently about your dog.
Well, I have two theories on it. Right?
Yeah.
There's more probably, but I like two of them.
Okay.
The Indians, American Indians, whatever they call them these days, Aborigine
Native Americans.
or American Indians.
American Indians.
Feather, not
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Right? They have a story, beautiful story, right? About a man living in nature in balance with all the animals, right? And God, I forgot for what reason, decided to separate the animals from the man. So the earth broke.
Yeah.
And the crusts start coming apart from each other. And in the last moment, when it was almost too far apart, or the animals were on one side and the man was on the other side, on the other crust.
Yeah.
Right? And at one moment, when it was the crusts were almost too far apart, the dog jumped to the man. I think it's a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes the dog special.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a unique, special relationship. Anybody that has a dog, I mean, it's that they know this right away.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you know.
And then I have my theory, which is probably not just mine, and some may agree and disagree. And again, knock yourself out, disagree. I can imagine, when I was a little boy, the first book I ever read was written by this Czech writer, Eduard Storch, and it was called Hunter of the Mammoth, right? And it was about this hunter in Stone Age, living in cave and all. That was great. And I don't think there was anything about dogs, but I like to think about it, like how those people, how did they live and all that. And then, I put it together with wolf and dog and the caveman. And wolf and dog are the same species, right? Canis lupus. Canis lupus. And they're different subspecies, right? Like Carpathian wolf is Canis lupus carpathian, I can say Carpathiensis, right? And there's many different wolves.
Yeah.
Mackenzie wolf, whatever, And they all have different subspecies. The dog's subspecies is familiaris, means domesticated. Canis lupus, just like wolf.
Yeah.
Familiaris, right? But it's the same species, right? So that tells me that the dog probably evolved from the wolf. Now, there are some theories that they evolved separately from some other thing, what was the name of that wolf? Some other wolf, which doesn't exist anymore. But still from the wolf, right?
Yes.
Except that wolf which it split from.
It's still the wolf, though. It's still the wolf.
Yeah, so that was the argument against.
I see. But the argument kind of falls apart because it's a wolf.
Falls on the face, yeah. And I can just imagine, right? Imagine the caveman. And I like to hike in the desert, and there's this pueblo there in the desert I like to go to, and there's a bunch of shards. And I don't pick them up. I pick them up, but I put them down. I just, I don't collect them. Like to look at them, to imagine how those people live there and stuff.
Yeah.
It's amazing, Pueblo. There's like 100 rooms. You know, it's the middle of desert. Most people don't even know about it. It's right there by Badger Springs. No, by Bloody Basin area. Nearby Badger Springs. You can, whatever. You can hike from one place to another.
Yeah.
And so I can imagine how these cavemen or these people, they lived and they would eat stuff, meat.
Yeah.
And the wolf would smell it.
Yeah.
Right? So they came by and they would scavenge, you know, they would throw leftover something,
Yeah.
you know, and they would, and they would forage on it, you know, eat it, the whatever trash the man would throw out.
Yeah.
And I know that's true because when I was working for oil exploration, we were flying with helicopters, and you can see, you know, a lot of times people, when I say this, people say, "Oh no, the caveman, or you know, he wouldn't throw anything away; he would utilize everything." That's not true, right? I can't tell you why I know it's not true. Because when I was working seismic, the oil exploration, we would fly, and you may see alluvium, which is like a deposit by the creek, which doesn't get flooded that much, if at all. And the Indians, they like to build their teepees or their tents right by the creek, you know, on that alluvium, which is flat, usually grassy.
Yeah.
And you can fly with a helicopter, and I have a friend, his name is John Callahan, and he pointed out to me and said, look down, and I look, and you can see these circles, right? And I see, and he says, in the grass, right, the tall greener grass in shape of circle, and he says, you know what that is? And I said, what? He says, that's an old Indian camp where they were camping, and as they were sitting in their teepee and eat something, whatever was left, they just throw it to the wall of the tent. And then when they moved, the grass was fertilized more around perimeter of the tent. And the grass, even now, 100 or 200 or 300 years later, is still greener than it would be if, you know, if nobody would throw any leftovers to that wall, right?
Yeah.
So I know that the Indians or the cavemen or the people of Stone Age would throw crap out, right? And I know of that because I was member of this for a little while, not very long, of the Arizona Archaeological Society. And I remember there was this guy giving a speech about this cave in White Mountains. And he says they came to the cave and they could see bones and stuff right in front of the cave.
Yeah.
Right? So I know the caveman was throwing crap out of the, you know, out of the dwelling they were in, let's say cave.
Yeah.
And so now imagine the wolf, they would sneak up at night, right?
Yeah.
And they would start eating the leftovers.
Yeah.
And the wolf, which was braver, would come closer.
Yeah.
Or less shy.
Yeah.
You know, that's why people say wolf is shy, dog is not shy, right? Because the wolf, the selective breeding already started right there.
Yeah.
So the wolf, which was not shy, would come closer and maybe had a cub, you know, young wolf and all that. And so, you know, and they would say, hey, look. And they would throw him a bone and he would come even closer.
And those pups learn from the mom and kind of
right.
like
And they would keep coming closer and closer, right?
Yeah.
And then the let's say they would enemy come, right?
Yeah.
Of another caveman or some wild animal.
Yeah.
And the wolves would alert, right? They would bark or make whatever noise they made back then.
Yeah.
And let's say wolf doesn't bark particularly well, but these particular would bark a little more.
Yeah.
Right? So again, he
So
supported
slow,
those. And so the wolf kept coming closer and closer until it became part of the dwelling. Right?
Makes sense.
And that's how I see it, you know, that it was. And it was mainly through protection, I think.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times people say, no, it was because they were hunting with them. I think the hunting could come only after the
initial.
initial introduction.
Okay.
And I read somewhere, and again, I don't remember where, but I know I read it. They try to mimic this process.
Oh.
You know, in
In
today,
real life.
in real life today,
And
they would
what
pick up wolves and all that and start doing.
Yeah.
And you know, it took only 3 generations.
Yeah.
3. By the time the wolf cubs and stuff,
Started.
and the wolves start actually entering the dwelling and
okay.
living with the man. Only 3 generations.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's interesting about this is, because I keep reading that stuff on it, interests me, that this particular, and this is documented, you know, because you can see when the wolf die or dog die, they could see, you know, being buried. Right?
I see.
The
So was
cavemen
somebody
buried right next to the cave?
Got it.
Right? So you can see that it was
Got
true that the wolf was part of the family of the cavemen. And what's interesting about this is that the same pattern, archaeological pattern, occurred in Americas, in Siberia, completely tens of
That's an interesting
thousands of miles apart. It
similar.
kind of happened almost at the same time, you know. And I think it has something to do with the development of the culture of the caveman, you know. You know, so that's my theory on how. You know, and so the wolf became part of the family, and you know, and like in Mongolia too, they found out, and you know, Mongolians, which is an interesting fact, when you ask them how many members have your family, and let's say there's a husband, wife, and 3 children, and a dog, so that would be 5, right? But the dog, so they say 6.
Oh, they included it.
Yeah, my family is 6. So the wolf or the dog would become integral part of the family.
Yeah.
You know.
You also talk about always look to nature, meaning look at the wolf. You said that when you want to try to figure something out in a dog, not all dogs have all traits, but any trait the dog has.
Well, there is a difference between equation and implication. I think I'm saying it right. I'm translating it from Czech, so I may mathematically using wrong terms. But equation is when A equals B and B equals A. A and B is equal, basically. And then you have, if A, then B. Right, so let's say A equals 30 points, and the B equates some of them, but B doesn't equal A. Let's say, for example,
doesn't go the other way.
Yeah, doesn't go the other way.
Kind of
let's say my red car is Ford, but not all Fords are red cars.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when we go to the dogs and wolf.
Yeah.
Everything which is in the dog come from wolf. Right? But not everything in wolf doesn't equal dog. Right? It's just that the wolf has more traits than dog. A lot of those traits in dogs are gone, which were in the wolf. But whatever is left in the dog, it's coming from wolf. And sometimes we can see remnants of some of these things which we don't need. For example, a mother will eat something, meat, for example, if you feed it meat, and the pups are coming towards the mother and lick her under the chin, and she will regurgitate the food. Right? Now, we don't breed for that, so it's kind of pushed away, but that's what wolves do, right? A mother wolf kills a rabbit, eats it, comes to the den, they keep licking her and induces the regurgitating reflex, and she pukes it out. And sometimes we can still see it in dogs.
Okay.
You know, so
there's human selection.
So there's some things which we don't need, so we don't breed for it.
But whatever it is there, it's from the wolf.
Whatever dog has, it's from wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how did the wolf got with man? I think my caveman's
Yeah.
explanation is
Yeah.
probably how it happened.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this content so far, please subscribe to our channel. Also, Hans has a podcast channel called Dog Training for Life. Check that out so you can listen to the audio version.
Interestingly, I saw this. It showed this was just a one-time test. They raised the puppies, dog puppy and wolf puppy together with the humans, but fairly quickly, I don't know how many weeks, already started showing it did go the other way a little bit, the separation. It's just they want to be, it wasn't like a dog. It was interesting to see. That's what their experiment showed.
What it was?
But it's different what you said, because they tested it generations, multiple, but this specific one-time test showed a separation between the dog and the wolf, being separated from human. At least this just was a one-time test, but yours was a multiple generational thing.
Right.
It already started coming back the other way. This was just a one-time test. I didn't hear about the multiple generation. This was just a one puppy, one test. It separated itself.
Well, it was wolf and dog. They're different.
Yeah.
You know.
That's what they kind of wanted to show, basically, I think, in this, or didn't want to show it was a test. They just want to, it's how.
Well, there is this woke theory which is denying that the dog came from wolf and that the wolves live in packs and there's family units and all that confusion crap.
Yeah.
But
A multiple generation.
what I'm saying is, whatever is in the dog, it's coming from the wolf.
Yeah.
Make it simple.
Yeah.
And if you're training dog or something, and you can always go back to wolf
Yeah.
and see, why is this dog doing it?
Yeah.
And he's doing it for the reason wolf was doing it. So try to figure it out and use it for your training.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're confused,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, which makes total sense, because just watch any wildlife documentary about the wolf. You see the traits of your. I mean,
I don't know how they can say the wolf doesn't live in packs.
I mean, it's impossible.
There was some scientist, I guess they say, in Oregon, and he says, "Well, there are not packs; there are family units."
Well, which is a pack. I mean,
I call it a pack. You call it family unit, all right?
No, they're packs.
There's this picture of these wolves going on the trail. It's like 30 or 40 wolves, right, somewhere in Yellowstone. That's a hell of a family, man.
It's a big family.
Yeah,
It's an Italian family.
I call it pack.
It's pack family, I guess.
Excuse me, And the leader is usually the strongest male or strongest female. Well, duh.
Yes. Usually how it's...
So, well, that's usually the father. Well, maybe it's not the father. Maybe the father is a grandfather. It's a pack. Okay.
It's a pack, yeah. But study the wolf if you want to know more about your dog, basically.
It's the anti-toxic male
masculinity.
Thing. Yeah, they don't want it.
Yeah.
But anyway, don't let me start on that.
Yeah. Thank you, Hans, for your input on this topic. So,
thank you, too.
Please subscribe, share, like, all those good things, and we hope you will listen to the other episodes. I mean, all the episodes ultimately connect together at some point.
The conglomerate. Remember the rock I gave you?
Conglomerate. That's what it is. It's a rock that has multiple different types of rocks within. Right. That's what it is. He gave me this thing that had all these rocks. That's what dog training is, basically. That's
understanding of the dog training and the dogs. Yeah.
Hans says there's a lot of dog trainers have pieces, and some have less and more, but very few.
And they may be perfect,
but
each piece, but they're not together.
Together, you need it. Yeah,
it's like the Swiss watch. You take it apart. Is it a watch? Each part is perfect.
Yeah,
you got to put
it
together so it starts ticking and showing exact time.
That's right. So think about that one, everybody.
Yeah, smoke a pipe on it. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.